What's up, everybody? Matt Gajewski here, back again with the Stochastic DFS channel. And today we're talking some preseason NFL DFS, the Sunday 2-game slate. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. And before we get started, I want to tell you about a quick promo we have. You can see it on the screen right now. You can click the link in the video description below and you'll get 50% off your first week of any NFL DFS package. And there's one I want to highlight here. You guys guessed it. It's the NFL preseason package. This is my baby. It's what I've been working on really for the last month, very hard, and through the first week. If you're new here, this provides you projections, depth charts that are constantly updating, and it's going to give you access to our Discord where you can ask questions, last second, things like that. The best part, all these things change throughout the day, constantly updating with late news, which we get a lot of in preseason, and it's only $19.95. So this is very affordable, and it's helped a lot of our subs get big scores in DFS. We had a guy take down a tournament just on Friday, big score there using the projections. So take advantage of that. The link is in the video description below. All right. We've got a 2-gamer on deck on Sunday. This is an interesting one. Little tougher to decipher, but we're going to go position by position and kick things off. We've got a couple situations here that are really crowded at quarterback. I want to start with Kansas City. Just talk through it. It's not my favorite situation to target for DFS, but you're playing the Andy Reid roulette wheel here. Every year he says the starters play a quarter, and he's lied about this multiple times. Last year, we saw Patrick Mahomes play one drive. The starters, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Kelsey, they all accompanied him for that one drive, and then boom, they were out of the game. With that said, they still have 4 quarterbacks on the roster, so even if Mahomes gets one drive, you're still going to see Gabbert, Shane Buechele, Chris Oladokun. They're all going to play, which makes this a tough situation to target, and why I'm ranking them 4th right away. So to get to the situations that we actually want to target, the first one here for me is going to be San Francisco. They're carrying 4 quarterbacks, but Brock Purdy's not going to play. They're going to start Trey Lance and probably play him quite a bit against Sam Darnold. They're battling for the backup job right now, but they obviously have a lot invested in Trey Lance. And why he's so interesting on this slate, he's one of the few quarterbacks that has that elite mobility that can break a preseason slate. And they're going to use him and test that. So he immediately jumps to the top of the quarterback rankings. The rest of the quarterback rooms, a little more enticing here. For New Orleans, they're carrying 3 quarterbacks, and they're going to play their starters briefly. Allen came right out and said, we're looking at probably a drive or 2. So expect a cameo from Derek Carr, but then you're going to see Jameis Winston battle Jake Haener for this backup job. Winston's been there for a long time. Haener is a rookie out of Fresno State, having a great camp. You're going to see Haener probably play up to a half in this game, with Winston coming in immediately after Carr. Haener's not a rusher, so he's behind Lance, but this is a guy we're still projecting for a round of half of football in this game. Lastly, we'll go to Vegas. They're carrying 4 quarterbacks. No word on the starters here. They've been very quiet. Garoppolo's coming off the injury, but he's been practicing, so you maybe see him for a drive. I'm not sure. What I do know is they're evaluating rookie Aiden O'Connell, who's having an excellent camp. Again, he's a pocket passer, so he's behind Lance. And I'd put him behind Haener as well because you have more bodies in this quarterback room. You have Hoyer, O'Connell himself, and Chase Garbers all in this room. If it breaks right, you could see O'Connell play a half just because they know what they have in Hoyer. Garbers is not making this team. Garoppolo might not play. So you could see a half here. You could potentially see more. It's volatile, but it's worth targeting in GPPs. Going to the running back position, we'll kind of break these rooms down and rank them. I have a lot of interest in San Francisco. They are not going to play their starters. That means no McCaffrey. And I don't think you're going to see a lot of Elijah Mitchell, if any at all. He's basically treated as a starter, and he's had a lot of injuries. They signed Jeremy McNichols on August 8th, so he's only been with the team a couple days. That leaves Jordan Mason, Tyrion Davis-Price, and Callan Laybourne. Tyrion Davis-Price is the guy I really want to highlight here. Behind Jordan Mason last year, but he's having an excellent camp. They invested a day 2 pick in Tyrion Davis-Price when he came out of LSU. He's a player that they're evaluating. Maybe he'll make the roster with a strong preseason. He's going to play above Laybourne, and I think he should be the preferred back in this situation. For GPPs, fine with Laybourne. He's a deeper cut, a name to know if you're playing multiple lineups. Second situation here is Kansas City have a lot of interest in the running backs. Pacheco's not playing in this game. They already announced it. I think you see Jerick McKinnon play that first drive with Mahomes, and then he'll probably be gone. From there, you have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, LaMichael Pirine, and Deneric Prince. Deneric Prince is kind of getting the Isaiah Pacheco hype from last year. A UDFA, a player who's having a really good camp, and we saw Pacheco come from essentially nothing when he came out of college to chief starter. So this is a team that will evaluate deep players and give him a chance. I think Prince is the guy here. Pirine has bounced around a couple rosters. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a known commodity for this team. Prince should lead this team in carries. Next, we'll go to New Orleans. This one's a little harder to decipher. They're carrying fewer running backs. You basically just have Kamara, Jamal Williams, Kendre Miller, Ellis Merriweather, and then they moved Kirk Merritt from receiver to running back this offseason. It doesn't matter. He's hurt anyway. So we're looking at 4 guys. I think we're going to see Williams, Kamara, and Kendre play briefly. Kamara and Williams probably with that starting group. Again, they're going to get a drive or two. Kendre Miller is a rookie, but he's also coming off a meniscus tear. So I'm questioning how much they actually want to give him the ball as well. And even if they evaluate him in the first half, that should leave plenty of work for Ellis Merriweather as the team cleans up the second half. So Merriweather would be the preferred play in New Orleans. I think he's a top 3 back on the slate. And finally, we get to Vegas, a team that's hard to evaluate. You've got Josh Jacobs holding out. Britton Brown did not practice. And then they signed Damian Williams off the street yesterday. I don't think he plays much. So you're looking at 4 healthy backs consisting of Amir Abdullah, who's a pass-catching specialist, Brandon Bolden, who's a special team specialist, Zamir White, who's the handcuff, and depending on how the Jacobs situation goes, might be their starter, and Sincere McCormick. All this to say you have guys in clear roles with clear specialties or projected to maybe start for this team ahead of Sincere McCormick. He's a player that should get a lot of second half run in this game, and he should be considered for DFS firmly. Going to receiver, we'll talk about each of the rooms and rank them and then give you options for each one. My favorite room to target is Vegas, so we'll stay here. Just the thinnest situation overall. Devontae Adams is banged up. I don't think he's going to play. Renfrow didn't practice yesterday. Chris Lacey didn't practice yesterday. So a couple players that are probably going to see the field extensively and have received hype as they compete for roster spots are Trey Tucker and Christian Wilkerson. Trey Tucker is a rookie out of Cincinnati. This is a player they invested in. He'll likely be competing with DeAndre Carter, Philip Dorsett for roles on this team. And Wilkerson played last preseason with New England, and he played really well. Unfortunately, New England just a little deep, wasn't able to keep him, but this is a guy that's played upwards of 60 snaps in individual games with good production on the field. These are the 2 I would highlight and focus on for this Vegas team. Deep cuts would be DJ Turner, Philip Dorsett, Keelan Cole, players of that realm. Second situation is the San Francisco 49ers. You're not going to see Debo. You're not going to see Ayuk. Ray McLeod just had wrist surgery. So we have some openings here. I think you do see Juwan Jennings briefly with the first team. Then you've got Danny Gray, field stretcher. They drafted him, so he's likely locked into his role. But a couple of players they've highlighted as battling for roster spots: Chris Conley, Ronnie Bell, and Isaiah Winstead. 2 in particular I'm interested in are Ronnie Bell and Winstead. Winstead's a rookie coming out of ECU. They're evaluating him for a roster spot at this point. He's going to play a lot. And with the Ray McLeod injury, Ronnie Bell plays a really particularly important role for this team. He was their backup kick returner, punt returner, special teamer. He now projects to maybe make this team because he's ahead of Willie Snead for this. They're going to evaluate him at receiver, see what he can do on the field in actual live snaps with the offense. He's out of Michigan, slot receiver. Don't think he actually plays much, but in the regular season, that is. But for preseason purposes, he should play a ton, see what he can actually do at wide receiver. For the New Orleans Saints, this would be the 3rd team I'm trying to target here. Michael Thomas got a rest day yesterday. Rashid Shaheed and Traquan Smith are both injured. So I do think you briefly see Thomas with the first team. Him and Olave will play those 1 to 2 series with Carr. But then you're going to go to the backups. And again, no Shaheed, no Smith. They're injured. You've got A.T. Perry battling James Washington and Keith Kirkwood for a role in this offense. Perry's a rookie out of Wake Forest, good field stretching option for this team. He should see the field quite a bit here. And lastly, the most crowded situation is Kansas City, just because they're going to play their starters for at least a drive. The only player who's not going to get on the field is Kadarius Toney. With that said, we have a couple players who are getting a ton of hype who are going to get reps. One is Justin Ross, the UDFA out of Clemson. That was medical related. Awesome prospect. Likely would have been at least a day 2 pick had he been healthy. He's blowing up camp, and he's likely going to make this team with a good preseason. They're going to give him every opportunity to show that. The other is rookie Rashee Rice coming out of SMU. More of a big possession receiver, but he'll be a guy that's actually competing for a role on this team as well. Expect to see a lot of them. Tight end, it's particularly nasty on this slate. Every team has at least 4. Kansas City has 6. So bear with me. We're going to try to read the tea leaves and give you the best plays at tight end. For New Orleans, this is a team carrying 4. I'm interested in Foster Moreau largely because Jimmy Graham got a rest day. I don't think he plays. The guy's well north of 30 at this point. Jesse James and Lucas Krull aren't going to play. They're both injured. That leaves Juwan Johnson, Taysom Hill, Foster Moreau, and JP Holtz. Juwan Johnson's going to play with the first team. Taysom Hill might play a little bit, but he doesn't even play a lot in regular season games. You guys know his role. He's a gadget guy. They use him on goal line, wildcat, weird situations. So don't expect to see a lot of Hill. That leaves Foster Moreau, who's coming off the cancer diagnosis. I guess I should say recovery. He's fully recovered now. But this is a guy that played a lot with the Raiders prior to his diagnosis. Good player, battling for a role. He's definitely going to make the team. But it's kind of him and Holtz is just a practice squad guy here. So I'm really interested in Moreau. For Vegas, we have 4 tight ends here as well. Michael Myers not practicing. Jesper Horsted's not practicing. So that leaves Austin Hooper, Jacob Hollister, Cole Fotheringham, and John Samuel Schenker. Between these players, Hooper's the starter, at least for this game. He'll play with Mayer in the regular season. Cole Fotheringham's out of Utah. He's a blocker. John Samuel Schenker is an H-back. He's out of Auburn. Doubles as a fullback tight end hybrid. Jacob Hollister has a lot of familiarity with this team going back to the New England days and now over in Vegas. He should play a fair amount here. Again, all the tight ends are gross. Hollister should get the most playing time for this team. For Frisco, George Kittle's not practicing. Don't expect him to play. We've got 5 healthy tight ends here. There's 2 I'm interested in for this situation. Cameron Latu and Braden Willis. Between these players overall, Latu's a rookie out of Alabama, good 2-way player. Braden Willis is more of a receiving option out of Oklahoma, kind of plays that H-back position too, but good receiver. The other players they're competing with are Charlie Warner. He's a blocker. Ross Dwelly, he's a depth guy, pretty good receiver. He'll play a fair amount here too if you want to take a shot, but Latu and Willis are the young players they're evaluating. Troy Fumagalli is going to get cut. Last situation is Kansas City, really deep here. The only player who's missing time is Jody Fortson. Kelsey likely plays his drive. Noah Bell probably plays a little after that. From there, you've got Blake Bell, Matt Bushman, Kendall Blanton, and Isaiah Gathings. Not going to get into all of them. This is the worst tight end situation on the entire slate, but if I were playing one, it would be Matt Bushman, receiving tight end a few years back out of BYU. But that'll do it for the slate. Thank you guys for watching. Much appreciated. Hit the thumbs up button on the way out and give me a follow on Twitter at Matt_Gajewski if you would like. Otherwise, we'll be back again next week, all things preseason. Good luck, and we'll see you then.